All right, morning everyone. We have got Jagga Smith in the studio today. Jags, it's been a big couple of months for you. You've in the last 6 weeks, you've won Oakley's best and fairest as a bottom major. You've played on the G on grand final day and watched the Pies win after that, and then graduated year 12. Mate, how have the last couple of months been for you?
It's been pretty busy. Obviously, all of those are great opportunities that I've loved being a part of. So it's been amazing. It's been a great experience.
Take us through grand final day, mate. That experience. What was that day like?
Oh, unbelievable, really. So, what I enjoyed the most was probably meeting all new boys from other states that you've been competing against.
Yeah.
Throughout the year. So, good to make relationships with them. And then obviously, being in Melbourne for grand final week is pretty unreal.
Yeah.
It was good to play on the MCG. That was an amazing experience.
Have you played on the G before?
Nah, not before.
No Oz kick?
No Oz kick. No,
Really?
No Oz kick. So
I went twice. RJFC got us in twice, mate.
They didn't get me in there.
Stitch up.
Yeah, not happy about that. But
Yeah, right.
No, it was unreal.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, just playing with good competition and like-minded kids. So.
Yeah, and then you hung around, watched the Pies win the flag.
Watch the Pies win the flag. So
did that turn into a bit of a big day?
Oh, no.
No?
I had an English
You would have been
exam.
wrecked.
I had an English exam the next day. So
Jeez.
I was pretty dirty about that. But,
Mate.
it was unreal watching the Pies. So, playing on there and then, watching where you want to be. So,
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
And speaking of the Pies, we were just talking before, you're looking at training with the Pies or the Tigers in the coming weeks, which is pretty exciting. What are you what are your thoughts around that, and what is your training look like for the next couple of weeks?
Through the AFL Academy, I think you get the opportunity to train with an AFL club for a week. So Oakley's regions, Collingwood and Richmond, I think they're aligned through that.
Yeah, well, Phila did Richmond last year.
Phila was Richmond.
Yeah.
And a few boys in the past, like Elijah Sardis and George Ward, have gone to Collingwood. So
yeah, okay.
That should be a great experience and seeing how the best go about it for a week. So
yeah.
So that'll be exciting, and then starting up with Oakley again soon with you. So
This Monday.
Yeah, this Monday.
Yeah.
So straight into it. New coach. So
yeah.
And new boys as well. So looking forward to it. Got a pretty good group as well.
It's an exciting group.
Yeah. Very exciting. So
exciting midfield, mate. Next year.
Yeah, it is an exciting midfield, but that's what it looks like. The next couple of weeks, and then into the AFL Academy camp in early December.
Yeah. Have you trained with AFL players before? Have you competed against that level before? No,
not before. So
okay.
Yeah, it'll be pretty good experience, I'd say.
Yeah.
Seeing how the best go about it.
And what have you been doing the last few weeks for training? What are your goals going into next season? Have you set some goals yet, or are you still recovering from the last couple of months and just getting over school, or have you got some goals planned for 2024?
Yeah, for sure. So what I like to do before each year is to set out some goals that I like to achieve, and then obviously I achieved the goals that I set last year. So
what were this year's goals?
So that was first of all because I hadn't played a game for Oakley Chargers before, so make the debut there.
Yeah.
Ticking off little goals like that. So that was my first one. And then have a consistent season with Scotch in the first 18 in the APS.
Yeah.
So I thought I ticked that off pretty well, even though we didn't get the wins that we'd like.
How did you? What did you finish? What was the
3 and 7?
Okay.
Pretty poor in the end, but we lost 5 goals by less than a goal.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we were in them, but we just couldn't finish.
Yeah. I remember I came down to that St. Kevin's game earlier in the year and
lost by a goal.
You came back hard. That was a good game to watch. Yeah.
Ollie Barter was good late.
He was good late in the game. Yeah.
But so that was one of them, and then obviously make my debut for Vic Metro as an underage. That's what I was pretty set on that I wanted to achieve, which I got that opportunity to play against South Australia in the national champs, which was amazing.
Was that the only game you played?
No, I played against Vic Country in the last one as well.
Yeah, okay.
That was amazing. And then the last one was to make the AFL Academy this year, which I got to
Which you've
off.
done.
Yeah, so that's
cool.
Yeah, so I'll let them sit there for a bit, the goals, and look back on what I've achieved. I'm pretty proud of what I've achieved.
Yeah.
But then now it's time to go again.
So you've set out some 2024 goals now.
Not as of yet. So I'll probably do that probably soon before pre-season starts. So
Yeah.
like I said, just look back on what I've achieved.
Yeah.
And then I'll set like four goals out again.
Yeah.
Which I like to achieve as well. So yeah, I've been training pretty tough. Like nothing too hard because I did finish like the last game I played was the same game the AFL Grand Final played. So taking a little bit of time to rest the legs because it's a long pre-season. So you're pretty flat out to next September.
And this time last year, you had some shin splints.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, had some shin splints and stuff. So
don't want to do that again.
Don't want to do that again. And with age, you kind of mature up a bit. You know what you're doing. So
yeah. So when you set like those big, broad goals, like obviously they're, big and broad. As I said, do you set little goals to achieve the bigger goals, or like do you have like for example, you want to make the AFL Academy? Do you have little goals to reach that bigger goal, or is it just big, broad goals that you want to achieve? Yeah,
I do. So they're probably the big main goals, and then probably within that is how I get there, right? So that's to do with my game really, like what I want to improve, like a few goals what I would improve in my game. So it's just little things like on game day, like what I want to improve on. So sort of like I want to tackle a bit harder and stuff like that. Like
okay.
Just set down in a little book that I want to.
How do you measure that? Like how do you objectify that?
So I normally get feedback. It's pretty heavily feedback based, like from Penny at Oakley.
Yeah.
With the midfield stuff, like she'd before games would go around. What do we want to work on this week? So it's kind of like that. So it's the little things that end up going out towards the big goals. Just stuff like that. Meeting with line coaches and getting their feedback.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome, mate. I want to. Most guests that I have on, I've sort of watched play for sort of the last year, but for you, mate, we've known each other for a little while. And mate, my first memory of you, I don't know if you remember this, but we went to primary school together, and back in the day, we used to play markers up. And I remember, mate, I used to dominate markers up, used to clunk them. And then the few marks that I wouldn't take, I'd usually get the ground ball and kick them back and happy days. But once I got into year 4, 5 and 6, if I wasn't clunking a mark, there was this little fella at my feet who was onto it before I could say, where'd the ball go? Yeah. And it was you, mate. So you've always had a footy in your hand. Where did your love for footy stem from?
I think from when I was younger, my old man was the assistant coach of the first 18 at Scotch.
Yeah.
So I was always down there watching training with my dad and just watching them train. I'd sit there at Scotch and just watch them. And I just thought one day I just want to be out there and play at this level. So I've always been surrounded by footy. And my dad played a lot growing up as well. So he got drafted to Collingwood when he was 16.
I did think that, yeah.
Down from Tassie. It's always been in the family footy. My pop played.
For the Pies as well?
No, just in Tassie.
Oh, okay.
He was he was a pretty good player, but he didn't come down. It's just the money wasn't there.
Yeah, fair enough. Did Mick play games with the Pies? Your man?
Dad? Yeah. No, he didn't. So he got drafted there, but he was in the 19s and stuff.
Oh, okay,
so,
yeah.
Started to play better footy when he was country footy when he got a bit older.
Yeah.
It's always been around, but just when I was young there, watching the older boys at Scotch, that's probably when it started.
Yeah, fantastic. And then coming through the ranks of Richmond Junior, mate, you single-handedly put that team. I don't think a Richmond Junior team's ever been in gold, but your team was largely because of you. What are some of your memories playing Richmond Junior and local footy early on?
Yeah. Also, the first year that I signed up to play for Richmond, they shafted me. They said I couldn't play because I was too young or something. I was that dirty.
Like in the tackers?
Yeah, in the tackers. So they changed the rule, and I was all ready. And they said I couldn't play, so I was that dirty. But
so you didn't play the first year?
I didn't play the first year because I was always playing with like the older boys, older Richmond boys, and they changed the rule. The YJFL, like you couldn't do that or something.
Right.
And I remember I was that dirty, but.
So what? You just played another year?
I just played another year of Auskick or something. Yeah.
Oh no.
But when I got into it, I loved it.
Yeah.
You go to school with the boys from Richmond Primary School and you play with them every week. It's pretty good fun. Yeah. And there was not as much pressure there as well. That's when you you really get your love for it.
Yeah.
When there's no one really watching you, trying to pick your weaknesses, but no, it's just good fun. I just try to get the ball as much as possible.
Yeah.
Goals, so, I loved it down there as well. But yeah, had to stop pretty early because of school footy. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So how do you go with that with the pressure now? I imagine that's sort of starting, and as you say, like games are now televised. And there's a bit more scrutiny on what you're doing. How do you go with the pressure? Do you revel in that, or is that a struggle for you, or how do you go with that?
I've always thought I've always thought to myself, pressure's a privilege. Like, if you don't have pressure on you, you're probably not going too well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think when you start to have a bit of pressure on you, that means people like what you're doing and rate your ability pretty highly. So you just got to block it out and just play, and that stuff takes care of itself at the end of the day. So if you give your best, that's all you can really do. But yeah, that's what I've always thought. Like, and I'm looking like Harley Reid. Like, if I think I've got pressure on me, what's the pressure that's going to be on him? So,
mate, I feel like he doesn't care. Like, he revels in it.
It's a bit easier when you're probably from a country town when you're based in Melbourne.
Well, do you reckon though? I reckon it'd almost go the other way. Like the pressure that the town, like Tongala is now known as like Harley Reid country. Yeah. Like, you'd have a whole town not putting pressure on you, but a whole town sort of with expectation on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe. But
yeah, that's all I always think about that. Like, if I think I've got a bit of pressure, I think.
Yeah.
Those guns right now, they've got a bit. There's a lot more media covering the draft at the moment as well. So it's probably growing.
What do you think of that? I spoke to Nate about this a couple of days ago. What do you think about the growing, like, media and profiling on junior players? Like this year, mate, after games, like the boys would give you a bit of stick for signing autographs after games. Well, unbelievable. Like, you're a bottom major and kids are coming up to you wanting autographs.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about the profiling of?
I think it's probably stemmed from a bit of baseline.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and they've done a great job.
Yeah,
amazing job. Like, I was saying, like, you see kids get drafted, and you're like, who are these blokes?
Yeah.
And now you've got baseline footy. You can see their highlights exactly like that. But no, I think it's a good thing, but there's got to be a bit of education around it, how to deal with pressure, because some people, like, you see some kids go into the system and they crumble a bit.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know how to deal with that external pressure, because there's a lot of pressure on you, and when you get into the system, people are paid to write about you. That's their job.
Yeah.
So, and that's not their fault at all. Like that's their job. That's their job to write about. So you got to try to be a bit thick-skinned and cop a bit.
How could the AFL go about doing that? Like what would you want to help with that kind of pressure? Like, what could they implement?
I don't know. It's probably a bit of education, really.
Yeah.
I'd say just towards the boys that are coming through, just a bit of teach them how to, like, I think social media is a big point of it as well. Like, after games, chucking your phone off as well.
Yeah. Like,
obviously, I'm not at that level yet, but like, if I was there to get there, just turn your phone off after games, because if you have a bad one, they come for you.
Yeah. Has that happened this year with you? Are people doing that?
It's been like, I first experienced a little bit when I was in under-16s playing in the Nationals.
Yeah.
They come at you a little bit, like in your instant DMs and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all pretty good at the moment.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't be as, like, Nick Watson. I know he cops a lot of stick.
It's so silly.
Yeah, it is silly, but that's what people try to do when you're pretty good, when you're going all right. So.
I hate it.
Yeah,
like, I had like prime training last week, and mate, like, he brings it on himself a little bit, and probably loves it. But like, some of the stuff that he gets, and some of the stuff that, like, particularly like junior players, like, what's Watto done to?
Yeah, I know.
It's just playing footy.
They have a go. Like, when you're doing all right, they just want to try and bring you down. But at times they probably go over the line a bit. But you got to be able to cop that if you want to be any good. If you're copping it now, it'll be 10 times that. If you make it to the AFL. So,
100%. And mate, what are you working on for next year? Like, what are your areas of improvement?
So I've always been able to, like, find the footy pretty well. I think that's probably been my strength.
Yeah.
So I can go into games and I can get a bit of it, but I think trying to be a bit more damaging forward half, like.
Yeah. Okay. hitting the scoreboard,
in
or
the scoreboard. Like I think I'm definitely capable of that.
yeah,
But especially like through the AFL Academy and things like the grand final day game, everyone's midfielders, so you got to be able to play half forward. And I did play a bit of half forward on that day, and I just got to learn how to damage a bit like that. So I watched a bit of Zane Dursman, the way he goes about it. So he's more of a forward mid, but he can really like hurt you forward, and that's why he's probably touted so highly, because he can really hurt you.
He kicks some bags this year.
Yeah, he kicks some bags. So that's, I want to try to be a little bit more damaging forward half, and probably get the ball in more damaging spots as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, what kind of player do you see yourself being at the next level? Like, who do you model your game on?
I like to watch Connor Rosie a bit. So he's midfielder with a bit of the inside-outside balance that I like to have as well.
Yeah.
And he's got really fast feet, so he can get out of stoppage quickly.
Yeah.
So I like watching him a lot, and I obviously like watching Sam Walsh, like his running ability. And his defensive pressure as well for a midfielder is elite. So I want to probably try implement that into my game as well.
Yeah.
Try to defend a bit harder on the defensive side. So
Okay.
But stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. And who have you been training with the last couple of weeks? Obviously, Oakley will go back on Monday, but sort of for the last, since grand final day, there's been no training. Are you training with a group of people? Are you doing your own thing? Have you got a crew?
Training with some of my schoolmates.
Yeah, okay.
So I've got some really good mates there that are like-minded like me. So Ollie Barter, who's been down at Oakley, he's a draft chance next week.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a bit of work with him. Cooper Lord, he's a Sandy boy, and Ned McGuinness as well, who's a Sandy boy as well.
Yeah.
So they're a good group of boys that work pretty hard. It's been good.
Do you think that's innate? Like I think you're probably the most intense trainer. I don't know if you agree with this, but the most intense trainer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In that, in drills this year, like in training this year, I've seen you crack it over losing a handball game pre-training, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like incredibly intense. Do you think that's an innate quality of people, or is that something that you've worked on, or is that something that's become something of yours over the last few years, or have you always been like that?
I've always probably been like that. Always pretty driven, sort of kid. Coming through, and I didn't like not winning stuff.
I can see that.
And you got to train. Like if you want to perform on game day, you got to train at a standard that'll hold up on game day. So you probably you do a lot of your work in the week, and then you get the rewards on the weekend. I think that's how I look at it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Next year you'll be playing with a number of different clubs. What are you most looking forward to next year with footy?
I think I've always been excited for my draft year. I think it's just like being inside that year. It's always been like a few years off. You know what I mean? Like 2 years off. Now it's here. So it's gonna be exciting. Like there'll be a lot of teams I play for throughout the year.
Yeah.
But it's just trying to remain consistent. I've always tried to my worst is trying to be still at a good standard that it holds up.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That should be. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, a lot. Just playing with the best kids as well. Great opportunity in the AFL Academy.
Yeah.
To represent Australia and play with the best kids around Australia. So
exciting.
I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah.
Well, one team you won't be playing for next year is Scotch, because you've just graduated, which means you have the whole year essentially to focus on footy if you want. You're looking at maybe doing a business course, is that right?
Yeah,
what are you looking to do outside of footy next year?
Yeah, so that is right. I'm graduated from Scotch now. Love my time there, and I was thinking of going back, doing another year through
at Scotch?
Yeah, doing a leadership role.
In case you fail, mate.
Yeah, well,
you never know.
I think I did a bit better than that. But,
I hope so.
No, I was looking at that, but
so what does that entail? Like what?
Just a bit of leadership stuff. Like you do one subject. Like I would have obviously had to be successful for the role. Like I would have applied, but I don't know. I just had a bit of a think about it, and I thought it probably wasn't the best for my footy.
Okay. Yeah.
And I would have loved to play another 10 games of school footy.
So if you go through that, you can play school footy again?
You can, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I was thinking about that, but I come to the conclusion that that's
Not
probably
gonna-
not
Okay.
the best for my footy. Probably a bit busy, and it's a stressful year. Your draft year is a pretty stressful year. So I didn't think I needed that extra layer on top of me. So
Okay.
business course. I think part-time uni.
Yep.
I'll try coach a little bit at Scotch.
Yeah, cool.
So that's the plan. Yeah.
Okay. With the business course, what's the thinking there? Like, would you like to run your own business down the track, or what are your plans outside of footy going forward?
I think it's not really to do with running my own business. It's just like interested in how businesses operate.
Yeah. Okay.
In today's world, you got to know like that's the stuff that businesses pretty much run the world. Like,
Yeah.
you got to know how they operate and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I've always been pretty interested in that.
Yeah.
And it's also a bit of I don't want my whole life to be footy next year.
Yeah.
Because if you have a little dip in form or something like that,
It ruins your week.
It ruins your week, and you feel like you feel crap. So that'll always be there, no matter if I play well or play poorly on the weekend. So it's a part of that as well.
Have you got any outlets yet? I remember talking to you mid-year and talking about maybe taking up surfing or something.
Yeah.
Have you got any outlets? Have you, apart from uni, anything that takes your mind off footy?
Yeah, I'm probably still working on that stuff. I just like socialising with my mates, taking away.
Yeah.
Like when I catch up with my mates, we just try not to talk about footy really.
Yeah.
That's a way we do it because.
Is that hard? Because you're all trying to, like the mates that you just mentioned are all trying to make AFL, I imagine.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the centre of your world at the moment.
But no, you find other things to talk about. But no, it's pretty tough because that's all, the front of everyone's mind. That's what they want to do. So
Yeah.
no, but so when I'm with my mates, try, stick away from footy.
Yeah, cool.
Because when we get to the club, it's all footy.
All footy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And mate, I had, as I mentioned before, Nate on a couple of days ago, and we were talking about next year's draft, and he said that there were probably a couple of boys that could get drafted in this year from next year's crop, and the one he said was you, which you told me you haven't listened to yet, but you'll listen to it after this because he gives you a good pump up.
Cheers,
yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think you'd be ready to go into an AFL environment now? Like you've obviously finished school, so you've got that out of the way. Would you be for the draft being a year younger, or do you think it's good how it is?
So it's a good point. I think I'd like to think I can compete with the boys that are getting drafted this year, but it's also I think physically I think I'm probably not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty lean sort of kid at the moment, so I think I'm probably another year for me. The under 18 system, getting a bit stronger, and perfecting some areas of my game. I think would go a long way. So I think I'm probably still a year off.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And on this year's draft, if you were a list boss and you're doing your top 5, who have you got?
I'll probably go one Harley, obviously.
Got to.
Yeah. So I've always looked up to Harley a lot, like because I played with him in that under 12 schoolboys team.
Yeah.
With a lot of the boys getting drafted this year. So Harley number 1, so he played. Number 2, Jed Walter, so he's pretty talked about a lot. Key forward, so.
Yep.
2, 3, Colby McKercher. I think do you know him?
Yeah. We played against him. Did you? You didn't play in that game down Tassie, did you?
Game
No.
down Tassie.
You were meant to the week before, weren't you? And then the flight.
Then the flight got called off.
Yeah.
So I think him 3. So I think in that under 12s carnival he played for Tassie, so I was playing against him.
Okay.
But he's had a really consistent year.
Yeah, he has.
And he's pretty damaging by foot as well, and he's quick. And he gets the ball for fun. So probably put him 3, 4, Zane.
Yeah.
Dersman, so he's also in that schoolboys team. He's just a pretty damaging player. And 5, I'd go, Watto, I think.
Yeah, get Watto in there.
Get Watto in there.
Yeah.
I think he's got something pretty special. So
Cool.
A lot of people doubt his height, obviously, but I think he's got something there.
Yeah, he's an excitement machine.
Very.
And what about next year? Who are some of I feel like we know the names already that are sort of top of the tree, and mate, you're obviously one of those, but who are some names that you expect next year to sort of jump up? There's always players that jump up, some players that you've played with or played against that you go, geez, they're primed for a big year next year. Keep an eye on them.
I think one, Tom Gross. I think so. He's had a really good year this year, and he had come off a bit of a down year in the under 16 nationals, but he was amazing this year, and he's in the AFL Academy, and I think he could really launch into that.
Well, grand final day, he killed it.
Yeah, killed it. So
3 goals in the first quarter.
Exactly right. Yeah. So I think he's got a big opportunity to launch up into the top group, I reckon.
Yeah.
But then there's always the guns there, like Josh Smiley. I think he's a really good chance to go really early.
Yeah.
I think Fino Sullivan obviously is up there. Like, he's a very good player. Sid Draper.
Yeah.
From SA.
Yeah.
Got to meet him through that futures game.
Yeah.
He's a great bloke, and really powerful athlete that I'll try to take a few things from his game. Like, he can move sideways pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's really good to watch, and obviously Levi Ashcroft. He's a really
So
good player. So.
the thing that, like, they're all mids.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
such a mid-heavy crop next year. Who are some key forwards you reckon next year that'll?
So I think Luke Trainer's a key position player. So he's in the AFL Academy. He's a really good player, but obviously the big blokes take a while to develop. So,
Yeah.
but I do think next year is just more of a midfielders draft. So especially at the top end. But I don't know. I think Luke Trainer's a good key position player. Harry O'Farrell,
Where's he?
he's at Calder Cannons.
Okay.
He's in the AFL Academy as well, so he's at St Kevin's.
Yep.
And Tyler Welsh, I don't know if you've heard.
He's the SA boy, isn't he?
He's the SA boy, yeah. Adelaide father son. So
Is he a key position? Is he?
Yeah, he's pretty big boy.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think they're the few key position players that I could probably name.
Yeah.
But there'll always be a few that probably jump up.
Yeah.
18's here for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Awesome, mate. Well, mate, I appreciate you coming on the pod today. It's been good to chat. I'm looking forward to pre-season with you and a big year. Thanks for coming on.
No worries, Kai. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thank you.